Yeah, okay. So, good evening again to everyone. My name is Dr. Alfred Tai. I'm a Ghanaian resident in Munich, Germany. And today we're here to continue our discussion on the Ghanaian housing market. In the previous series, we've tried to look at how the market functions. We've been trying to delve a bit more into the new Land Act and some of the things that it enshrined in it, and then most importantly to help us to maneuver the market in a very safe way. Last week we looked a bit into the punishable acts, right, as it relates to landowners, agents, and then people who engage in multiple sales of land and all kind of criminal activities when it comes to land procurement in Ghana. Today we are going to look at secure processes that you need to follow if you really want to buy a land in Ghana and to do away with all the problems of being duped and multiple sales and buying a land today and then tomorrow you have to um, fight over it legally and all and those kind of hurdle. So today, just call somebody and listen so that you wouldn't have to enter into such problems. And again, I must say that we are grateful to have my good friend Emmanuel Edusei to help us understand the processes you need to follow in order to procure your land securely. So again, Ima, you are welcome.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for
much,
making
Tom.
time.
Thank you
Yeah,
very much. As usual, it's been a pleasure. Yes. Okay, so
great. So how are you doing? Again, it's good to
yeah,
ask.
we are fine. I mean, just residues of our streamings and then heightened interest of people about wanting to know some of these safe processes.
Mhm.
So that is all about it. So I'm sure a lot of our viewers are waiting to. Uh, get the details as to the safe processes that
Yeah.
they need to deploy or employ in trying to get uh, properties. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll look into that. Yeah.
Okay. Again, thank you for making the time. I think this is I would say this is the most important part of the series because
Yeah.
we hear or we have seen many people, right? They buy land today and then tomorrow, right? They say that well the document that was presented to them was fake, and
Was not
now
that right?
now they had to go to court, and many, because they cannot really make the time, right? They just forfeit the land altogether. And particularly for people who are living outside the country, they don't really have time to go through the legal battle. So today, I really want you to take your time, right, to take us through every step of the process. So, for example, if I want to buy a piece of land or a property, can you hold us by the hand, right? How you need to really move along from searching for the property, right, until you really have the document maybe presented in the land registry or land commission or whatever. So if you can hold us by the hand and then explain to us the processes, that would
The
be great. Yeah.
processes. Okay. So once again, thank you very much and good evening to our cherished viewers. So today, just as Doc is trying to say, we'll be looking at how individuals acquire interest in land, just
Hmm.
as we say it legally, or the way they buy land,
Hmm.
as they want to put it. So before even I get to the processes, generally we'll have about four different ways of trying to acquire interest in land. You could inherit it,
Hmm.
you could have it as a gift, you could buy it, and then it could also be used as a means of settling a debt to a person. So these
Okay.
are primarily the four ways that somebody might be occasioned with the opportunity to own a
Hmm.
land. Now, when you are given the opportunity to own a land, what do you do to ensure that you have a legal interest in the land?
Uh-huh.
The first thing you have to look is to examine what you actually want to use the land for.
Okay.
Basically, in our part of the world, a lot of people have built in certain ways, and those places were not meant for certain structures. And so, at the end of the day, you find them that their structures have been demolished,
Mm-hmm.
their properties have also been taken away from them. In the quest of landowners to sell every land, especially in cosmopolitan areas like Accra, where virtually all the land has been sold already,
Mm-hmm.
people try to get pieces of land in places which were maybe reserved as buffer zones for main drainage or even lands that are reserved for government projects. You can see that sometimes the family heirs or the stool owners will try and encroach some of these properties and then will sell them to unsuspecting members of the public, and that will lead them into trouble. So, the first thing you have to know after examining your capacity to see whether you can own a land, because
Mm-hmm.
that is the first start. You have to look at your financial muscle and then your intent for the land. So if I want to get a land for a commercial purpose, then I should be looking at something that is close to a commercial environment that will
Okay.
serve the purpose. If
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at using it for some kind of commercial activity, restrictive activities like a filling station, then
Mm-hmm.
you should know the kind of land you are buying, because for that exercise, you cannot buy a land within the enclave of a residential settlement. The law
Okay.
will not allow you. So,
So the purpose of the land, right?
yes,
Do you already have like demarcated areas where you say that okay,
exactly.
if I want to use the land for so and so, then I need to
To do
look
that.
somewhere, right?
Exactly.
Do we already have those demarcations?
Yes, we
Okay.
do have some to a large extent, but
Okay.
the default in places where development exceeds the planning of our country,
Mm-hmm.
where people even settle at places before authorities are able to say that this particular place is going to be used for this.
Yeah.
In our part of the world, you know the way it is. Sometimes people even settle there first. So this place could be a commercial or an industrial enclave,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, people will go there, settle, build residential facilities, build schools, and then make it virtually impossible. But the danger is that wherever you want to go, if you contact the municipal or district assembly, they will be able to give you an outlay of the development plan that they have for that particular area. So
Mm.
there is always a particular plan that has been drawn. So if you contact the local government unit, we call
Okay.
it municipal or district assembly. If you contact them, they have a unit they call the planning unit. So
Mm.
once you contact the planning unit, they will be able to tell you the places that have been reserved for government projects, places that are reserved for commercial purposes, places that are reserved for industrial purposes, and places that can be used as residential purposes. So
Okay.
these things are known. So
Mm.
the right place to do the checks is the district or municipal assembly. Their
Okay.
planning unit will be able to tell you this offline. Now, once you are settled with the purpose and then the definition of the land,
Mm-hmm.
another very critical thing you need to do in terms of the land that you have been given is to know the history on the land.
Okay.
A lot of people buy things and they don't have the history about the land, because every tradition in terms of the stools have a way of approaching land in this part of our world.
Okay.
They
So
always have a
you are
different
referring to the history of ownership, right? Or
Yes, history
okay.
of ownership of the land.
Mm-hmm.
That is the land tenure system. So every tribe has a land tenure system. You go to the Ewas, they have a land tenure system. You go to the Gans, they have a unique one. You go
Okay.
to the Ashantis, they also have a unique one. Even the Fantis also have theirs. Now let me speak to the Gan, the one within the Accra enclave. Yeah. The
Okay.
Gans have a history that shows that they did not have chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
They were led by the Wolomos, which they call their spiritual leaders, like the fetish priests. So most of the lands in Accra were actually have their custodians as the Wulomo. the
Mm.
chief priest. Now, what the chief priest did historically was that once they conquered a land, the chief priest would distribute the land in the names of the families that
Okay.
contributed in winning the land. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the lands in Accra are held in family names.
Okay.
So most of the lands in Accra are held in family names, and that is contrary to the ones that are held in the Ashanti region. In the Ashanti region, most of the lands are held in the stool name.
Mm.
A stool. That is why the Ashanti king can say that all the lands are in my name. Nobody
Okay.
can use the land because land interest is vested in the stool.
Mm-hmm.
But in Ghana settings, land interest is vested in families.
Mm.
So the next stage for you to know is that you must know that this land that I am approaching or wanting to have an interest in, is it a stool land? Is it an individual who is selling it?
Mm.
Now, the safest is that sometimes it's an individual. He has already re-registered his interest in the land, and then he has the documents to cover that. That is
Okay.
very correct. With that
But
one,
just before you continue, right? So, for example, in Accra area, right, where the
yeah,
land is owned by the family, right,
yes,
is there
yes.
possibility to transfer the land from the family ownership to your own name, right, to the name of individuals? Is it
Yes,
possible at the?
yes, yes.
Okay,
Exactly what I'm saying. That
okay,
there have been people who have got it. Now, we have legal definition for strangers and then subjects. When we say
mm-hmm.
subjects are people that pay allegiance to either a family or a stool who is the
Okay,
custodian of the land. So they are basically family members. So we call them subjects. So a subject acquiring an interest in a land is very different from a stranger. But for the purposes of our series today, we are talking about a stranger, somebody who
okay,
is not a member of a family or a
mm-hmm.
member of a stool trying to acquire an interest in the land.
Yeah,
That is the
mm-hmm.
person we are talking about. So some people have acquired this interest from these families and have gone ahead and registered such interest with the Lands Commission.
Mm.
Such people can easily convey the land to another person.
Okay,
But the danger is that because the laws of our country does not allow the outright sale of land, but
mm-hmm.
it allows the holding of interest in land for a maximum period of 99 years. So, for instance, Mr. A goes to acquire an interest in land from family B.
Mm-hmm.
The interest as expressed by the family to Mr. A is that you can have this land for a maximum period of 99 years.
Okay,
Mr. B enjoys the land for up to about 70 years, about up to about 20 years, meaning that he has only about 79 years
mm.
left interest in the land
Okay.
before
So,
it is
so
sold.
that if the person is actually selling it to you, right, is
Yes,
selling a leasehold of 70
yes,
years.
at least
And
so,
okay,
of 99 years. So if the
okay,
person is selling to you rightly, just as you have said, doctor,
mhm,
it means that the person is actually selling a leasehold of 79 years to you.
okay.
But they mistakenly, because it is just a
Mm.
format of an indenture with any surveyor, you also go and put the 99 years as if this is
Oh,
an allodial title holder who is giving it to you. But he does not have any right to revise the years to you because he
okay.
himself is a stranger to the land.
Mm.
His interest is limited. He's not like the allodial interest holder who is the family head, who can
Okay.
decide to do a 99 years again. But once you acquired the interest as
But
a
just before you continue, right? So
yeah,
the original owners, right, they have permanent interest in the land. So
they
the
have
chiefs,
permanent interest in the
okay,
land, yes.
okay.
And whenever they are doing alienation, which we
Mhm,
that is to say to sell, whenever they are doing it, they can start with the 99 years. But
okay.
you, as a stranger who have acquired the land, your
Mhm.
time starts running. Immediately it is
Oh,
signed to you. So whenever you want to transfer your interest in the land to another person, the person buying it must know that he's buying the rest of your interest from
in
the
the
time
land.
that you acquire the interest from the allodial holders. And
Okay.
when buyers get aware of these things, they are able to negotiate better
Yeah.
because you are not
Yeah.
having it for a lifetime. You negotiate better and you pay a better rate for it.
Yeah, because I see a potential issue, right? For example, if you are ignorant of what you're just saying,
Yes,
maybe the only remaining interest of the previous owner, right, is like
yes,
50 years. I go and buy it thinking that I have 99. And then at the end of the 50 years, right, the family
yes.
then can now come and claim the land from me.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we have such a situation and it's pending now. You know, the
Mm,
central business district of Accra, the Tudu, the Makola, people
mm-hmm.
have built over time. And because it is commercial enclave, a lot of transition has gone on. Somebody
Yeah.
buys this building for this, somebody buys this land from another person, use it for a bank, does not revert to the allodial interest owners.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of the system that was missing, because the school secretariat and the family secretariat was supposed to have been properly established. And that
Yeah.
is what this new law is bringing, such that you must pay what we call continuous rent to those people. You must keep a continuous rent, which is supposed to be an annual subscription that is going to be paid to them.
Okay. So
Either
the,
you bought
the,
the
the
land from
current the current owner, right, has to
the
pay this
current
rent.
owner.
Okay.
Yes, so you, the current owner, still
Mm,
owes some payment that you still have to pay to
mm,
the original owners, for lack of a better word, the allodial owners. So if the stool and the family has organized themselves, the law provides a continuous benefit in the land. But because they are not organized themselves, which the new law seeks to do, they will have continuous interest.
mm,
So every year, the people staying on the land have to come and pay an amount of money. Now, they don't know how to do it. So what happens is that whenever the Ghanaians are celebrating a festival, they go around with letters to them that the year has ended, they must come and pay contribution. So it's like you are contributing to their celebration of their festival because
yeah.
you are on their land. But
Mm-hmm.
meanwhile, there's a legitimate reason, of course, a cause of law that
Mm-hmm.
mandates them to come and pay. It is not an act of a gesture to a celebration, no. It
Okay.
is a responsibility that has been placed on them to
Mm-hmm.
service their land, their interest in the land on an annual basis with their allodial title owner.
Yeah, but it could also be because of the way the owners apply the law, right? Maybe
Exactly.
they are also ignorant of this
Exactly.
clear
The way they
explanation.
have
Yeah.
acted, yeah.
Yeah.
The way they have positioned themselves over time for people to. So some people say that no, I can't donate to you, I can't give
Yeah.
you anything. It's like it's something that is without compulsion. But
Mm-hmm.
these are things that ought to be done. And the new law says that this thing can accrue. So if you don't pay a year or two, it can accrue and then they can surcharge you. They can write to you, demand a notice for you to pay that money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will help us keep track of these things, because
Yeah.
whenever you take an interest in a land with an existing stranger, then it means that you have to regularize your stay on the land or
Mm-hmm.
your interest in the land with the school secretariat. So the new law says that that secretariat ought to be set up
Okay.
and there ought to be proper accounting from that place. That
Mm.
is why he says that that becomes an institution that holds a fiduciary responsibility to the subjects of the land, to
Mm.
the subjects of the family, to the subjects of the school. So that is what happens with respect to this one. So that is what they ought to know. So this is a caution that we are throwing to people, that know the extent to which the person selling the land to you has eaten into the existing interest that he
Yeah.
has. So what has happened in Tudu is that people that have structures on the land, and already, in our previous series, we've talked about the legal principle that says that the owner of the land owns everything on the land.
Mm-hmm.
So when the time is due, the owner of the land owns the story building on the land as well.
After your
Yes,
after your
after
lease
something
food.
has expired, he
Wow,
owns
this is
everything on it.
I,
So
I don't want to sidetrack us, but people can actually use this for their advantage, right?
of
The
course,
owners,
and
yeah,
it's happening now.
yeah, yeah.
People are being faced with ejections because
Hmm.
the people want to sell them to another person. People with interest in land, they want to sell them to higher bidders,
Yeah.
but the people already have built a bank there. It is
Hmm.
their head office. That is where they are known to be, and all that. And and taking it away from them will have, so it pushes the negotiation, because you don't want to lose the property. You
Yeah.
want to make
Yeah.
sure that you are maintaining the property, and then you've been able to renew or regularize your interest in the
Mm.
land and all that. So
I think
let's
that
go.
this is really an important information. I just hope that people can yeah, get access to this and then
Yeah, people
assimilate
ought
it.
to, because
Yeah.
some people think the 99 years is too long,
Yeah.
and it might never come, or traces of those places.
Hmm.
One way or the other, a subject to the family land, a subject to the stool will discover this, especially
Okay.
when it's a stool land. And in our current situation where all the lands have all finished,
Hmm.
so the only leverage they have is to revise the documents that they've signed to people.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah.
are records that are available to them. So when they look at your document and see that no, it is up, they write letters to you, you don't go, they go to court, get eviction notice, and they will come and
Yeah.
take you off the land.
Because the law is also on their side,
And the
right?
law is on
Yeah.
their side, and I believe it makes sense, because these are the assets, or
Hmm.
the only tradable commodities that are at the dispense of the stool, in terms of the
Okay.
development, and then taking care of its subjects and everything. So we cannot allow it to be a one-off event, and
Hmm.
then whoever comes after that has nothing to work with, because land is one of the resources of the stool or the family that is supposed to go to the benefit of the subject. So that is one thing that is there. So you must know the nature of the land that you are acquiring. So if
Yeah.
it's a family land, you know how to treat it. So just as I told you, one of the callers that called me today wanted to find out, he's bought a land, and he wanted to find out who were the actual owners.
Mm.
There were people that settled, and that is one of the issues with the Kaswa Senya land. The issue is that the Jamestown people believes that it was the Fantis. Some of the Fantis came towards Accra, and they wanted to fish along the sea.
Mhm.
So they gave them that place to stay and then do their fishing.
Mm.
But over time and with history, they have been able to mount their chiefs there and everything. And it's like they've started signing documents and selling land.
Okay.
So this became a very long tussle, because the names of the place, Senya and all those things, they depict a fancy nature.
Mm.
But it went to the Supreme Court over and over again. And there's a judgment now that that land is supposed to be for the Jamestown people. So
Okay.
whoever has bought land there must now regularize his interest with those people.
Mm.
And the same thing happened in a place we call Tetegu. It's also in Accra. We have some sub chiefs there. But if you buy a land around the Tetegu English Amanfro, none of the chiefs there can do a land document for you. You still have
Okay.
to go to English, the one at Jamestown. They
Mm.
are the rightful signatures to the land. So if you don't know some of these things, you might be cowed into submitting to some self-acclaimed chief within that place, and
Yeah.
then he will be signing the documents as if. But when you send such indentures to the lands commission, it cannot be registered, because when
Okay.
they look at the interest in the lands and those who are supposed to sign, they will not accept your
Accept.
documents, and
Mm.
your documents cannot go through registration. So
So
some of those
then
things,
if you just you can just live on that land, right? But then you cannot really claim ownership. It's just that
exactly.
you
So
can.
you can be
Yeah.
living on that land at the blind side of the rightful owners.
Mm-hmm.
If care is not taken, and in future they find somebody and somebody says, "I'm coming for the land," and they have the person has their backing, the person can easily evict you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what they normally do is if you contact the school secretary or
Mhm.
the school secretariat, they take your document and they are able to go and then get the rightful people to sign for you. So it
Okay.
is very important that you use the approved channels.
Mm-hmm.
So now the law is requiring you that if it's a family land, if it is a school land, go to the school secretariat, get to
Mm.
them. They would show you the appropriate sign-ons, the people that are supposed to sign on your document for you
Mm.
to make it legal. Because these things too, they also change. Human beings, they can die today. This person will not be there. Who is the rightful person that has been gazetted at the Lands Commission to sign? Always there's a tussle. But when you get to the secretariat, they will be able to tell you the right person
Person.
that ought to do that. So once you establish the kind of interest that you are buying from, you must know and then refer the matter to the school secretariat. I am very particular about that because most of the issues that are coming up are from that place. When it's an individual who has already registered his interest, there is there's very little with it because the
Okay.
person just gives it to you, and then you have to look at the nature of document, the nature of the interest that is left for the person to transfer to you, and then that one becomes it. So once you have done that, you are being shown a plot, so you know that this is the plot that I am buying, and that is where most people make a lot of mistakes. Whenever you are buying, they already have their surveyor already.
Mm.
Whenever the stool has this, they'll come with their surveyor who will tell you that for this plot, this is the papers. So you go and register it. Or this is how it is. It has been done already for you. And
Mm-hmm.
some people will just take the indenture and put it down. It is important that you yourself make a physical inspection of the land.
Mm.
And you don't do it with your physical eyes like this, but you also get expertise to pick the coordinates of the lands for you,
Okay.
because that is the only thing that you can use as a search to be able to guarantee the kind of interest that is in the land and the ownership thereof. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are not able to pick the exact plot, and then, for instance, it's a vast land, so they tell you that your own is plot 2, your own is plot 3, and you know these are various parcels of land, so many parcels of land that are being sold to people. And
Mm.
they are doing the same document, they are signing the same thing. Sometimes these documents or site plan can even be misplaced into different indentures. So it is very important for you to actually do your site check. Get a surveyor, let the person pick the plot for you, and then cross-check with their documents to at the Lands Commission.
Mm.
Don't go and tell them to do an unofficial search for you. Always try and do an official search. File the official search is very important as part of your evidence to your ownership. So you get that one and then you file it.
And how do you do that? Maybe to for completeness, right? Can you how do you do the
Yeah, so
official
what you
search?
do is that once you have contracted a surveyor, he's
Mm-hmm.
going to produce something we call the site plan for you. These days, the law requires you to do a digital site plan. The
Okay.
days where you have to use something to measure the yards and everything and draw, it's long gone. There are devices that are used to pick the site plots, and then they'll go and take a coordinate from the Lands Commission and
Mm-hmm.
then plot them out. So when they send them into the Lands Commission, the coordinates are very exact. They
Mm.
point to where you have been given. The report is about the piece of land that you have submitted to them. And then when the reports come out, you compare the report with what you have been given from the
Mm-hmm.
landowners, and they know that you are buying the real land. Now, when
Okay.
that one is done, then you know that you are in good hands. And
Okay.
most people will take these documents and then put them there, and that is all. They don't go and register. And then when they need money or they want to sell it, they just pick the document and then go and sell it. If you don't do the actual transfer into your name at the Lands Commission, then you'll be endangering people. And this is what always happens, that people are selling lands and say that I've registered my land, I've done everything.
Mm.
Meanwhile, all what it means is that the landowner has signed to it. And when it's a
Oh.
stool land, there's a lot of danger to it, because the stool, maybe the chief dies, there's a new French chief, he comes, and then whenever you want to go, when the person has gone to rectify the changes with the Lands Commission, it will require that you come and sign with a new one again. So
Okay.
whenever you are buying land from such people who have refused to register their interest in the land, they are holding the indenture fee. You must make sure that they have the responsibility of making sure that the alludial owner signs
Fine.
your interest to you.
Mm.
Don't just accept the documents like that, or the interest does not become that of the stranger who is trying to sell to you. I don't know
Okay.
whether I'm making myself clear.
Yeah.
Somebody
So
has
it
said,
just to So, for example, people bought the land, right?
Yes.
The original owners, the chiefs, right? They just signed
Yeah.
the indenture for them, but
Yes.
the new owner has not
Yeah.
gone ahead to register it with the land registry. So,
Yeah.
in that case, right, the land is still owned by the chiefs, the original
Yes.
owner,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then if there's a third person who wants to buy, then it creates
Yes.
some problem, right? That's the situation now.
Is. So the
Okay.
third person who wants to buy it
Hmm.
will still have to go back to the chiefs.
Okay.
So that is what when you come to Elsins, we before the commencement of everything, we will tell you to sign a surrender deed. You
Okay.
know that you are surrendering your interest to the person,
Hmm.
and then that surrender deed becomes the evidence that you present to the chiefs for them to now sign in the name of the third party, the third person who is now coming to receive the thing, because it is very important to create the flow of sequence, because we say that there is a lacuna, there is a gap to your ownership. We
Hmm.
can connect you to the ownership. Where did you come from? How did you
Okay.
get the interest? So, in order to bridge that, we make you sign, you, the second person who got it from the original owners, you will sign what we call the surrender deed. You are
Okay.
surrendering all your interest in the land to the third person. And then
Mm.
the third person, with your help, must secure the signature of the allodial interest holders so that he can now become the new owner.
Yeah,
And
but
subsequently,
I think the lesson here also is that for anybody who buys the land from the chiefs, right, it's a good thing to make sure that you actually transfer the land into your own name.
yes, you
Yeah,
have
because
to. And
otherwise it even create hindrances for you to sell afterwards if you
exactly,
want.
exactly. Because some people say, oh, I don't want to sell it. And you know, one interesting thing is that
Hmm.
the value of a property in terms of the land appreciates when the land is registered with the Lands Commission.
Okay.
So if you are selling a land to me and you are only holding the indenture and it has not been registered, it is a different price.
Yeah.
And if you are selling a land to me that has a registered interest with the Lands Commission, it is also a different price.
Mm.
And these are some of the bargaining chips that land buyers will have to use, because you
Okay.
have a long way to go, especially if you are buying a land in Accra here and you have not gotten there, you are now going to sign. They virtually take you almost like one third of the amount of the land before
Mm.
the chiefs will sign to you.
Mm.
And that is why you must not allow somebody to just give it to you and go, and then you carry the burden of going to the chiefs. Always make sure that the person giving you that stranger interest in the land ensures or facilitates your signing with the allodial interest holder. It
Okay.
is very easy to do that, but when you come as a stranger, it comes with several extra costs that you
Yeah.
have not bargained for. So the lesson here is that you must negotiate with that in mind. So, Mr. A, once you're selling a land to me that has not been registered with the Lands Commission, and I have to go back, we have to
The
factor
value.
the amount. Yes, they factor the amount in it, because some people can even charge as high as 20,000 just to sign
Okay.
for you,
Hmm.
although they know that you have already sold the land to another person and the person rightfully is selling to you. They'll tell you that for you to get their signature on a new listing, it will be treated as if you are buying the land from them again.
Hmm. Hmm. And
And
you had such issues, right? You had such issues before
yes,
in
yes, yes.
essence. Yeah.
We've had plenty of those issues,
Hmm.
and we try to resolve it. So if we are in the known in the process, we caution it, we factor it in the negotiations. We are even able to tell the person that you pay half, let the person go and secure the signature first.
Hmm.
When the person secures the signature, he comes for the other half, because once the signature has not been secured from the people, anything can happen.
You are still not the
Anything
owner.
anything can happen. You are not the
Yeah.
owner, and surely the person too who is even holding that unpresented indenture to the land business is still not the owner in
Yeah.
effect, because still you've not been able to. And these are bare lands.
Hmm.
Mostly, some of these things are bare lands. They've not been possessed. The person has not walled it. The person just has some pillars around it, and that is not sufficient possession.
Hmm.
So the landowners can even go and do a lot of things on it. And people have not studied it. Most of the indentures that are prepared by these two lands have an insertion in the document. They've not read it. It's in one of the paragraphs that failure to act on the land beyond 2 years they have the right to resell it.
Okay.
People don't read it, isn't it?
But is it also back? Is this clause
But that is a
backed by
covenant
law?
you are trying to make. You are making a covenant with somebody. It's like
Mhm.
a contract agreement. I have sold it to you, but I have the right to resell it after two
Okay.
years. The only thing that the law requires me to do is that I must either refund your money to you or give you another land. And that is so inconveniencing, knowing that you are the forefront of the land that is being shared, and then you come in 2 years' time or in a year and a half, you want to put your blocks on it. You say, no, no. You come, you've seen a building on it, and they're saying that, oh, don't worry, we'll give you another one. That is the phenomenon here. They always giving another person another thing. And that is the stage that we're in. So once you have been able to register your interest in the land at the Lands Commission, another very important thing that you have to do is to possess the land.
Okay.
Possession is 9 points of the law. That is one thing I always say. We have a legal that says that possession is 9 points of the law. The law has 10 points. You possessing the land is 9 points. You holding the paper to the land is 1 point. Who is more stronger?
The one who possessed the land,
The one
right?
who possesses obviously is stronger. So you possessing papers to a land is merely 1 point out of 10 points.
Mhm.
1/10. And virtually, if that is a mark you are getting an exam, it is failed. It means you have failed. So you need to possess it. So once you are done with everything, you have to show presence on the land.
Mhm.
You can decide to wall it. Sometimes you can decide to also build it. It should be sufficient possession,
Okay.
because there have been cases, especially when you are subject to the land. The rule is that you can only possess as much as you have possessed. That
Mm.
means that if you have about 10 plots of land and you decide that I have taken over this 10 plot of land, if you are not able to wall all the 10 plots of land and you decide to stay on 2 plots of land, the other 8 plots is unpossessed and can be taken by another subject. That is the rule. Very, very interesting
And
rule.
this is interesting.
Very, very interesting rule. So the possession that you are taking must be absolute and
Mhm.
must be I don't know what word to use. Must be sufficient.
Okay.
Your possession must be sufficient and adequate.
So
Just
it's
like
not enough, right? Just to keep weeds from the plot.
exactly, somebody. So normally it's good that yes, pillars are possession. It's a form
Okay.
of possession. You have pillars that demarcate the boundaries of your
Mhm.
land, the extent to
Oh,
which you
if
are.
you have only pillars, right, it's enough.
It's a form of possession. It's a
Okay.
form, but who knows? Maybe your rival will come and build a single room, and that is a more substantial possession. Is that not? You put pillars, another person comes to build a 2 or 3 bedroom house on it. So who has possessed more?
Yeah, yeah,
So that
yeah.
is actually
So
the
this is
case.
interesting, yeah.
Yes, but yes. So I think people should not think it is a window for you to like the way they do here. He buys the land, he knows that there's litigation on it, and then he will try and build over time. They build in the night, they build, knowing very well that the law will be in their favor because they have possessed much of the land. But there is another rule
Okay.
that says that any person buying the land owe himself a legal duty to acquire from the person who has presence on the land before his acquisition the kind of interest the person has.
Okay.
So, for instance, if you are going to buy a land and you see somebody with a kiosk on the land, and this principle was established in one case that we call the Total Ghana case. Very, very, very prominent case. So Total Ghana decided to go and buy a land from a stool, and then
Mhm.
they just went there to buy. They saw somebody who had a kiosk on the plot, and the person was selling. They didn't think that was a problem because they bought like 1 acre, so they didn't mind. They just greet the person having the store there, and they went about with
To
the
the rest.
stool, this thing, and they paid the money.
Oh, to the one who had the kiosk on the land.
No, no, they didn't pay the
Okay.
money to the one who had a kiosk. But they saw
Okay.
the one, somebody having a kiosk on the land, but they didn't think it was a problem. They didn't talk to the person.
Okay.
They didn't talk to the person to say that, oh, why are you on the land? Because it is for this, but they didn't say anything. They
Mm-hmm.
went about their business, inspected it with the stool owners, and the stool owners came to sign documents to them, and they had done documentation. They also went to do documentation and everything. But I'm sure the land was for a project, so they didn't immediately occupy the land. So over time, several years, they came and said, "Oh, we want to take possession. Please, can you leave this land?" The store owner said, "Oh, for me, I have my landlord. I don't know you to be the landlord." A member who is a subject to the stool had sold the land to the store owner,
Oh.
and the store owner was paying rent to the subject. Because once you're subject to a land, you can possess the land.
Okay.
It's yours, it's also your land. So the person was paying it. And when they sent the matter to court to evict it, the rule was that they coming to buy, they owed themselves a legal duty to have acquired from the store, from the person
Mm.
who was sitting at the store. What interest did the person have in the land, even before negotiating for it? So if
Okay.
you are buying a land and you go to the land, some people can see that there are visible pillars on the land. They can see that some people have put blocks on the land. Some people have put, and they don't make any effort to inquire. They are
Mm.
always in a haste to pay their money and then try to overtake the person in possessing the thing. You might not be lucky.
Okay.
The rule must be against you because you had an initial responsibility to make sure that you had asked
Mm.
the person who was on the land the kind of interest the person had on the land. Failure to do that, it means that you yourself have shot yourself on the foot. And
Mm.
that is very important. And this is what we want to iterate. But people come to us and they tell us that your process is very rigorous. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not facilitating it? Landowners are beating us up because they are in a haste to take their money.
Mhm.
Property buyers are in a haste to occupy the land, and they always think that all it requires is paperwork, documentation, and everything. But some of these things, we do them just to protect our clients. We
Mm.
try to investigate the land. We try to go to the land, get several stories, confirm stories about it. So if you contract us to do a search on a land for you, we don't do just a search with the Lands Commission and get you a report.
Mhm.
We actually add some investigation to it. So we are able to provide you a brief history about the land's occupation, the current situations of the land, and
Mhm.
everything. So that is why you need experts to help you to do some of these
Yeah.
things. You will not be clothed with enough knowledge and time to be able to do this on your own. You can contract us, you call on us, and we will deliver to you. And
Mhm.
that is what we do best. So we call on all our clients, especially those outside, and they are hard pressed for time. They want to see results. We do all these things just in your interest, just
Mm.
that we'll be able to protect you and do that. So that is the last thing you do. You possess the land and then you continuously visit the land, especially if you are not sitting on the land.
Mm.
You continue to visit the land, and that is something that we do. We know some of you acquire the interest in the land and you have to travel outside. You don't have anybody to inspect the land and to take a periodic stock about the happenings on the land for you. And that is why our homeland project is. So
Mhm.
we can give you that supervision. We can manage your property for you, be it a building, be it land that you have acquired, and all these things. We do them to our utmost best and in line with the laid down regulations of the industry to the best of our ability. So, Doc, this is in a nutshell, this is how it looks like.
Yeah, very great. So just let's just recap exactly the process again, and
Yeah.
just to summarize everything. So the
Yeah.
just one point, the first point, right, is to check the history, right?
Yes.
Check the history of the land. The
Know
second
the kind
thing,
of interest.
is to take the site plan, right? Make sure that you have the site plan
Yes.
prepared for you, even beside that which has been given to you by the owners,
Yes. Yes.
right? And then the third one is to make sure that you check, right? You check the ownership of the land registry.
Yes,
And
yes.
then if everything is okay, you have to transfer the ownership into your name.
Into your name.
That is not enough. You have to really possess the
Possess.
land. It sounds like the children of Israel. It's
Yeah.
the
So that
Israelite
that is
possessing the
that
land.
is that
Yeah,
is in a nutshell. That is
yeah,
how
yeah.
it ought to look like. And
Just do you also have packages, right? Maybe people might be interested
yes, yes. So,
to help
so we have
people.
lands. You know, you might not be lucky. Some people are not lucky. They cannot afford to buy a land outright, and
Mm-hmm.
we have installments for you. We currently have very two ones that are going out. We have one on the Kaswa Winneba Road, very nice, serene.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Before you get to Porting Junction, you are going towards Nyanyano, towards Swedru, the bypass. That is where the land is located. It's a very nice land, and it's going for just 8,500 cedis. And
Okay.
if you want to pay in installments too,
What's
we
the
can
size of
help
the
you with
plot?
that.
The price is
The
for
size of the plot, yes, the size of the plot is 80 by 100.
okay, and that goes
That's
for 8,000, right?
yeah, that goes for 8,000. Yes,
Okay.
but some people bring requests. They say I want 100 by 100, and we are able to fix that for you as well.
Does the price include like
Yes, the price
all
will.
the stuff you mentioned, right? Like the site plan,
The
checking
side
everything.
plan,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly,
Mhm.
yes. But the price will change if you are paying over time. If you are doing an
Okay.
outright payment, fine. But what the condition is that you give us half of the money, and then
Hmm.
the rest is spread over 6 to 12 months for you. So you
Okay.
pay half of the money to us. The half of the money you are paying is to help us do some of these documents for you, help you get your indenture, and then settle the landowners their initial fees, and then also cater for some of the going about with respect to the property. So that is what happens. We have another one too at Equiapim on the mountains, and that one the prices have been changing very quickly. So now a plot is selling for 15,000 cities. A very nice place.
Mm.
Brekuso, you can pass Brekuso from Kwabenya. You can connect from that place to the Produce, and then you go down to Tekwashi Hospital, and then you take your right. It's a very nice view. When you are on that land, you can see virtually Medina Adenta. You can see that part of Accra. It's a nice view, and the land is fast selling. And that one too, if you pay half, we can give you a period of 6 to 12 months, and then you settle. These are all lands that we have checked so well,
Mhm.
and then we know that they are available for you, and then
Okay.
you can do that. We also have
Just
some properties
oh,
around.
sorry. Go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, we have some properties that are selling. A four-bedroom house, very newly built. And if you visit us, you can see some on our Facebook page and even our website. And it's going for just $200,000. Very, very nice.
Mm.
And you can call us. We can send you pictures of all the properties that we have. We have properties ranging from two-bedroom houses to all that. And you can also contract us to find something for you. You can bring your specifications, you can tell us what you want, the time, the budget, and then we'll make sure that we give you interesting choices for you to choose from. So this is
Mm.
what we do. Call us anytime, 24/7. Those who have contacted us in before, they know how we do our work.
Mm.
24/7, because we understand that you those outside the country have a different time structure from ours, so we try to accommodate any calls or contacts beyond the times that we are supposed to be giving ourselves better. Yeah. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe my final question. Maybe a quick one. I was just wondering, right? You discussed the processes of acquiring the land, right?
Yeah.
Supposing that I've found a property that is already built, right, and then I want to acquire that. Um, do I have to follow the same process,
Yes, you do.
or
Basically,
there's?
the same
Mhm.
processes, but expressed differently. So,
Okay.
in this case, if you are possessing the land, you should be able to make sure that you have taken over the property in
Mhm.
such a way that no other person will be able to take occupancy. So, virtually the same thing. You search, you make sure that the land on which the property has been situated, the
Mhm.
interest on it has been properly defined, as has been sold to you and all that. So it's basically the same process that you use in certifying it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much,
Thank
Yima.
you so so
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so
And
much.
also, thank you to all of you who have
Yeah.
made the time to watch us live, and those who will be watching after the recording. We are grateful for all your
Thank you
comments.
very
And
much.
yeah,
Thank you
if
so
you have something that you still want us to discuss, don't hesitate to
much.
send us a message,
Yeah.
and then we'll just put it on
Or
our
email,
agenda.
and then we'll
Yeah.
respond to you. Thank you so much, Doc, for having me. Thank
Thank
you.
you, and
Have a good now.
have a good evening. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.